Welcome to the Therapy Show. I'm Lisa Mustard, your host and guide on this journey of learning and professional growth. Here, we transform the way you earn continuing education contact hours. Whether you're on a walk, on a break in between sessions, commuting, or even preparing dinner, you can engage with cutting-edge insights from leading subject matter experts. Each episode features conversations with seasoned professionals who share effective techniques and tools tailored for busy therapists like you. Our goal is to enrich your practice and fit seamlessly into your active life, ensuring you stay informed and inspired without the hassle of traditional methods. You can say goodbye to sitting in front of a computer screen watching hours and hours of recorded trainings. Instead, we make continuing education as easy and accessible as your favorite podcast. So make sure to visit the website, lisamustard.com, to sign up for our continuing education membership. It's a fantastic way to earn your credits while enjoying the podcast. Join us on the Therapy Show, where your professional development continues wherever you are. Please note that the content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to replace professional mental health care, diagnose, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your own licensed mental health provider or medical professional regarding your specific situation. While I am a licensed marriage and family therapist and my guests are also professional counselors, the discussions in this podcast are meant to offer general insights and should not be taken as personalized therapeutic advice. Listening to this podcast does not establish a therapist-client relationship with me or any of my guests. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or have thoughts of harming yourself or others, please contact a mental health professional, call 911, or go to the nearest emergency room immediately. You can also reach out to a crisis hotline such as the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 in the United States for immediate support. Every individual's journey is unique, and what works for one person may not be suitable for another, so please use discretion and seek appropriate care as needed. Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of The Therapy Show. I'm your host, Lisa Mustard, and this week's episode is a Podcourse, which means it qualifies for one continuing education contact hour. And you guys know that Mustard Consulting is a NBCC approved ACEP provider. All the details about the continuing education requirements are listed on the website. I'm super excited to welcome Dr. Jason Branch to the show this week. Welcome, Jason. It is so great to have you.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited.
Yeah, I told you it's a hot topic, self-care and burnout and all the things that go with it. And we have learning objectives and you guys will see them on the website. But before we dive into the content, Jason, will you share with our listeners a little bit about who you are, how you help, and maybe how you got here?
Gotcha. So long story, I'll keep it short. So I took a psychology course in high school and loved it and knew that I wanted to work in psychology. Psychology led me to counseling. Counseling led me to counselor education. Counselor education led me right here, right now. And the topic, talking about the salamander and gator, which you've never heard before, I'm sure, because who's talking about salamanders and gators in this profession? Me. So if you hear it, this is where it came from. And how I got here was I experienced compassion fatigue and burnout myself in the profession. So early in my career, after my master's, within that first 3 or 4 years, the profession almost killed me because I didn't know how to take care of myself. And because of that experience, I developed systems and structures and different ways to take better care of me. And now I'm in a place to share it with anybody who's willing to listen.
Can you share maybe a little bit about what that looked like for you? Like, how did burnout happen for you? What were your symptoms, signs, and what was like your breaking point with it, I guess?
Great question. I wasn't even aware. When it came to compassion fatigue and burnout, I was not aware. I was working in private practice and I had several contracts, different places. And then I was working full-time as well at a residential treatment facility for substance use and abuse. And that experience, that environment almost took me out. Because for many helping professionals, we have this desire to, or this belief that we can save the world. So I'm trying to save the world at the same time working in this facility, trying to save everybody there and not recognizing everybody, number one, want to be saved. Number two, ready to be saved. Number three, it's not my responsibility to save anyone but me. And I discovered I'm not a savior or a saver. I'm a helper. My job is to help. So in the middle of this, I'm constantly pouring out to a community of clients who were constantly taking. And it just never balanced out. So I didn't recognize until my supervisor asked, hey, Jason, just curious, what do you do once you get home? Like you working 8, 12-hour days. What do you do when you get home? I go home and watch intervention. What do you do? I didn't see it as a problem at all. So my supervisor had to pull me to the side to let me know what she saw. So I'll work 8, 12-hour days. I'll go home, watch intervention. I'm studying. I'm trying to learn the DSM, just trying to be, in my opinion, the best, right? Not recognizing that it was killing me. So when I finally woke up to see what was going on for me, I recognized like I'm dealing with depression, anxiety. I'm taking medication now. I'm seeing a psychiatrist. I'm seeing a therapist. That's when I woke up, when I noticed the issue was related to the job, because everywhere else in my life was fine. But every time I go to work, it was this dark cloud over me.
Yeah.
And when it was time to go back to work, that dark cloud came back. So I was diagnosed with situational depression because of my current situation. And my psychiatrist mentioned one way to get rid of it is you need to create a different situation.
Mm.
I wondered what could I do, and it took me a while. So it was kind of like I was kind of like an addict myself. I'm gonna quit on January. I'm gonna quit on my birthday. I'm gonna quit on this day. I'm gonna quit on that day. And I never did. I didn't quit until I hit the breaking point of physically, I can't even get out of bed. Mentally, I'm just cloudy and dark. Emotionally, I had nothing left. And that's when it was like, okay, it's time. And believe it or not, I did the complete opposite. I left the profession and I went and got a license to become a bartender. But leaving the profession, doing something different, that's what got me out of that funk. That's what got me out of that space and place, because I wasn't aware. And now my awareness is so heightened, can never go back. So since that time, I haven't gone back. And because of the system that I'm going to share today, not even hopefully, expectantly, people won't put themselves in that position. People will find ways to get out, and people will find ways to manage and navigate taking better care of themselves. So what we're going to talk about today talks about all of those things inside and out.
Yeah, awesome. And for those who are watching on YouTube, you definitely see Jason has a presentation, PowerPoint presentation. If you are listening on the podcast, and you have to go and see the content for sure. But this presentation, PowerPoint slides, will be added to the Podcourse that you can purchase. The Podcourse itself will contain the PowerPoint. So if you're listening and you want the continuing education contact hour, this PowerPoint will be inside my learning management system, but you can also go and check it out on YouTube where you can see it. I just want to get that disclaimer out there because I'm sure somebody listening is like, where's this PowerPoint? How do I access it? Okay, so the first learning objective that you have given us is understand the importance of maintaining balance by setting healthy boundaries and practicing self-care on a daily basis. Where would you like to go with that learning objective?
Yeah, so I want to start with where we are. And for many helping professionals, for many of us, we're in the middle of a disaster. We're in the middle of your house falling apart and you don't even know it. So I want to start there because, like I mentioned, I was in the middle of it and I had no idea until somebody let me know, who was able to see things that I couldn't see. And once I was able to see things for myself, that's what changed things. And for many clinicians, we can't see things for ourselves because we enjoy comfort. So if I enjoy comfort, I'm not willing to look at things differently or challenge or change or shift. If I'm a believer around who I am and what I'm supposed to do, then I'm going to do that until I can't. And competitive fatigue and burnout is some of those symptoms that happen where you can't do it anymore. And that happened to me. So for me, it's finding out what your boundaries are, where you are currently, and then how do I get better at boundaries? For example, I use a lot of analogies and metaphors, if you can't tell from the presentation. When I think about boundaries, I think about a brick wall that's around us. And for many of us, we have a great brick wall. We put bricks up around us, but those bricks only go to our kneecaps, meaning anybody can step right over that wall and be right in your face. So that's why, we got boundaries, but they're not that great because people still have access. When it comes to creating boundaries, it's limiting access to us. But if I have a Superman, Superwoman, Superperson mentality, everybody has access.
Right.
Everybody. And one thing I learned about access is everybody doesn't deserve access. Listen, I came here to teach. I did not come here to preach, okay? But everybody doesn't deserve access. Think about it. If you think about any celebrity entertainer, let's say LeBron James, nobody that I know or know of has his cell phone number, which means I don't have access to LeBron. So there's no way in life I can get access to this guy. And that's how I view our boundaries. When they're healthy, you don't have access unless I want you to have access. So healthy boundaries is I get to decide who I allow in, who I keep at a distance, who I invest in, how I invest. It's all about what I decide. Because the world going to be the world, people are going to be people, and you cannot stop people from people.
That's so true. So true. Give them an inch, they take a yard, right?
All day long. Why not? And because we're so giving,
Yeah.
People don't care. They want to take. I mean, it makes sense. That's human. If you give me something, especially if I ain't got to pay for it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep getting it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep getting it. I'm gonna keep asking for it. I'm gonna demand it. And when you don't give it, it's a problem. And that's where we fall short because we don't want to disappoint.
Right.
Again, trying to save everybody.
Right. Good point. Okay. I like that. So where do you think those bricks should be? I guess all the way up?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
All the
All
way
right.
up and covered. And I don't have a door. I don't have a window. I have nothing. I am in here, locked in, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody has access unless I want you to. And if I do, I'll push a button and you come in the back cave, right? Nobody even knows it's there until I push that button and then boom, you got full access. So having those boundaries and protecting and covering yourself entirely gives you the option to choose who, what, when, where, the people, places, and things that I allow in.
Okay.
With us as helping professionals, we allow everyone and everything in all the time because our belief is we're supposed to, we have to. It's my responsibility. Last time I checked, because I love to talk about beliefs and facts, my belief, you are not responsible for anyone that you did not have, meaning birthed. So if they're not your children, you're not responsible. We choose to be responsible because our beliefs.
Okay.
These are facts.
Right. They are facts. Absolutely. I agree. I agree. It took me a long time to understand that too, because I was similar after coming out of grad school. I mean, I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get out there and help the people. But I quickly found out that the ones that don't help themselves, because we are like, oh, this is my job. I have to help this person. They're not moving. They're not changing. What am I not doing right? What intervention, what skill, what technique? And you're in the, back then we didn't have Facebook groups, but you see it now. I don't know if you're even on Facebook. I'm in these groups and I see people asking all these questions and some of them don't like the responses because the responses are, you are not responsible if they are not going to they have to want this more than you do for themselves. I don't even know what my wall was with it, but I finally figured it out because it was starting to creep into my family life and that really ticked me off.
Yes. It happens to all of us. I don't know how you can be in this profession and it doesn't happen unless you were trained.
Yeah.
Because even in our programs, we're not trained. There's not a course on self-care. I feel as though there needs to be, but there's not one because that's not a priority based off of the profession. To me, what priorities are is what we talk about. If you think about 60 credits or above, what's important in those core courses is related to the profession, not related to the person. So the person, that work doesn't happen until after you graduate, when you may have a supervisor or you are connected to a community, like you mentioned, where I have other people that's talking about things outside of what I learned in school. So this profession, although great at helping others, there's a disconnect where we're not able to help ourselves. And that's how this compassion fatigue and burnout happens. Also, it's a cultural phenomenon as well, where we're adopted into this belief system that it's our responsibility to save all. And that's not true.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then also add on that when people out there believe that that's what we do, is that they're helpless or they see themselves as, well, you know everything and you're supposed to fix me. And why isn't this working? This is great. Is there anything else about this first objective, the understand the importance of maintaining balance by setting healthy boundaries and practicing self-care on a daily basis that you want to touch on?
Yes. When I think about self-care, this is really big. And I want you all to write this down, especially for this whole webinar. Write it down. I got a lot of things I want to share. One of the biggest things is when it comes to self-care, I look at it as a bank account. Your self-care account is a bank account. And every day we're making withdrawals. You wake up, withdrawals are happening, right? Literally, figuratively, and everything else in between. So when it comes to practicing self-care on a daily basis, that means I'm making deposits daily. As simple as a penny all the way up to $1,000, $1 million. Whatever I choose to do, there's value in it if I'm practicing self-care based off of what works for me. The current version of me. Because many of us are practicing self-care based off of what we did in high school. And you ain't been in high school in a while. Okay. So therefore, the stuff that you did then.
Well, I'm like, it was a long time since I've been in high school. So I don't even know what I did back then.
So some of the things we're still doing because it's comfortable.
Right.
But I'm an adult now and I have to find what works for this version of me, meaning the things that I did in the past. Yeah, it works, but it doesn't give me the substance that I need to maintain. So when I think about self-care, I look at it at a micro level first. So it's starting really, really small and then working our way up. Okay. Here's an example. If you can, for many of us in this post-pandemic, so I'm gonna give you some grace. We may brush our teeth once, twice a day. Again, I'm gonna give you grace. We post-pandemic. Brushing teeth, taking a shower, a little different now.
Right.
So typically, we may brush our teeth twice a day, period. Okay. Imagine if I brush my teeth 3 times a day. Imagine if I started flossing, brushing my tongue, adding mouthwash, and making regular dentist appointments. That changes my oral hygiene. That's self-care. And for many of us, the simplicity of brushing and flossing is something we don't do because we never had to, or we weren't exposed to it. But that's what I mean at a micro level. Let's go a step further to go beneath the surface. Imagine if I was intentional about doing something different, uncomfortable, and new every day, and I chose to brush my teeth with the opposite hand. That takes me in my life to the next level because it forces my mind to expand. Once the mind expands, it never goes back to its original form. So in order to change perspective, I got to be willing intentionally to do something different, uncomfortable, and new. That's how I also practice self-care. Why? Because I want to get better. I can't get better staying comfortable.
I like that.
Lisa, you got me fired up. We just started.
That.
You got me
I'm like,
up.
I really want to know, what are those things that you're doing that are, you said, different, new, and challenging? Is that what you said? New? Different,
uncomfortable, and new. So to make it simple, I call it done. Whenever you're done with something, people, places, and things, whenever you are done, I'm talking about D-U-N, done. It got very different, uncomfortable, and new, or you chose to do something different, uncomfortable, and new. So here's an example, because I'm sure everybody can relate to this. We wear a lot of different hats. And for me, being an empath, or learning that I was an empath, I learned that wearing these different hats, I'm great at doing it. However, I need to give myself time, grace, space, patience, and permission to take time in between each hat that I put on. So for example, if I see a client, 50-minute session, I see the client, whether it's intense or not, I got that 10 minutes before my next client. I'm going to take that 10 minutes for me. Number one, I'm not going to spend 10 minutes on a note. The second is, giving myself permission to take that time to recenter, to refocus, to reconnect, to reflect, to give me what I need to be prepared and present for the next client. It's small, but it's big. And then knowing myself well enough, I could see 4 clients before I need a break. In that break, I need at least an hour. I'm going out in nature. I may be doing some grounding, got my toes in the grass, drink a little water. I'm just finding ways to replenish before the next thing. And then, say for instance, I work all day and now I got to go home and I got a family, two boys, and they on that level, right? 4 and 2, okay? So I got to be present for them. So I need to shed and get rid of whatever I carried for the day before I even get home. So that could be on my car ride home, listening to a podcast or listening to complete silence. When was the last time, this is for all the listeners, when was the last time you commuted without the radio, without the podcast, without music, but just sitting in silence in your car to replenish and recharge before you're present for the next thing? Right. So these are just some examples that I do. What I want to share is for everyone to create their own, because what works for me may not work for you.
Right. I love the silence in the car. That was hard to get used to, but that's something that I force myself to do now. On the way back from the office home, it's about 15, 20 minutes. And I so look forward to that time. It's been great. And then I'm also kind of forcing myself, not all the time, it's hard to do when I go for a walk, not to listen to anything, just to let my mind wander and let my thoughts come. And that's hard because I love a podcast. I love listening to music when I'm but this is really, and I don't do it all the time. It's just, sometimes I need to quiet my mind. Yeah. I think these are great.
Oh, I want to go back to something that you mentioned, which is really important. Like you mentioned how difficult it is, but you were intentional about it. Yeah. That's the difference. I'm going to be intentional and not turn the radio on. That is hard. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, it's not as hard anymore. Now it may be second nature. Like it's not a big deal. And I know some clinicians who never, and I say never with all caps, never do things outside of the comfort zone out of fear of what if. Not what is, what if. And for many clinicians, even though we're here to provide a service and help other people, we struggle helping ourselves more often than not. Why do you think we got in this profession? The reason that most of us, if not all of us, got in this profession is because somebody helped us or they didn't. That's it. Somebody helped us or they didn't. So therefore, my energy, my passion, my integrity, everything goes to saving everyone. But what about me? And that's who we don't consider until we have to, which is why you're here now. This is why. This is why. This is why you came here. And it's not a coincidence. It's not coincidental. It's not random. It's what you needed to hear because of the space that you're in.
Yeah.
And my belief, it's the person. We are the entity. So if I'm the entity and I'm the tool, I got to take care of the tool. No one goes out here and do all this yard work in the garden, throw the tools up, put them back in the shed and keep moving. No, we clean them off. We make sure everything is put up. We make sure it's ready for the next time. So if I treat my tools, a shovel, a hammer, if I treat those better than I treat myself and I'm the tool, how dare I?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
easy because culturally we're dealing with the same thing. This whole, I hope y'all ready. I hope y'all ready. Lisa, I'm trying to, I hope y'all ready.
They're ready.
I got my chair.
I think they're
So if you think
ready.
about it, upbringing, background, culture, I don't care who you are, where you're from. We're talking about people. When it comes to people, you know, many of us just want to serve, want to help. That's what we was raised up around. Think about grandparents and grandmom and them, you know. What did they do? They served, they gave back, they helped, they made sure everybody was together, collective. And then when our grandparents or great grandparents, when they start passing, things shifted, things changed. And part of the reason that things shifted and changed is because the awareness and perspective was different, where all I know is to be taken care of when it comes to that piece and how to take care of other people, but not how to take care of myself. I don't know how to do that. Although I got doctorates and MDs and everything else, I know how to take care of a patient or a client, but I don't know how to take care of me because many of us have not been taught. And some people aren't taught how until they do this, listen to this webinar, check out this podcast, Podcourse, and they begin to see themselves. So again, it's hard for me to change or do something different if I'm not aware that what I'm doing is killing me internally. Many of us can't even see it because we live this way and we always have. And our parents and grandparents did the same thing. So for us, this is what we do.
So what do you think are the signs and symptoms that we are not aware of? Like I have some ideas, but I'm curious, like if this is what, if we're doing it and we're feeling a certain way, but we can't quite put our finger on it. What do you think that look like? What are the symptoms that might be kind of creeping in? And you just kind of say, well, I've always done this, you know?
We finna dive right in. We finna talk about
Okay.
Salamander now. Let's go to Salamander. This is
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Anytime you are done, again, DUN, different, uncomfortable, no. Anytime you're there, whether intentionally or unintentionally, we transition into a salamander. Okay? Salamanders are squishy. They're soft. Everything sticks. They take their work home. They go to work early. They stay extra late. They are everything to everyone except themselves. They're vulnerable as all get out. There's no protection. As you can see with the salamander, smiling, was wide open, mouth wide open, no teeth, but talk the most ish. That's us as salamanders. It's like a turtle leaving its shell. I'm out here naked and afraid, and I ain't talking about the TV show. Okay. So the signs and symptoms are 4. I like to make really complex things simple. So I broke it down to 4 things that people in this space are. Number 1, perfection. Very black and white thinking. It's either this way or that way. There's nothing in between. So therefore, either I take care of this client, either I work extra hours, I do these things, or I'm not good enough. I'm not helping. I'm not supportive. I'm not effective. It's very black and white thinking. That's the first indicator. So whatever it is that you're doing, if you notice that you're convicted to a certain thing that you can't consider something else, that's a prime example of being a perfectionist. I want to get it right. Especially for the new clinicians, this belief that I need to be Freud, even though I look nothing like him. This belief of I need to be somebody that I'm actually not. That's perfection. There's not enough time in the day. That's perfection. That's unhealthy boundary. So we can just start there. So many different things. So perfection is one of the number one things related to salamanders. And it's okay to be a salamander. I'm going to help you develop into a gator before we get out of here. The second is perception. My belief, the perception is I have to save the world. That's a belief. It's perception. You're entitled to it. And the best way I can describe this perception is Comfort Inn, hotel, no pun intended, and Intercontinental. If you think about it, Comfort Inn, you probably got about 4 or 5 floors, 4 or 5 stories. That's how high your perspective can go. Intercontinental, the minimum is 20 stories. There's a different perspective. So I live at the Intercontinental. I stay there. So if I stay there, my perspective is different. And my perspective is different based off of facts and beliefs. Beliefs with Comfort Inn is I can save the world. My beliefs staying at the Intercontinental is I can save who I can, which is me. It's the only person I can save.
Right.
Think about the people that you tried to save your entire life. How often did it work out? It didn't. Just want to talk about facts.
Right.
because
No,
people
it's
change
true.
when they get ready, not when we want them to change. So our perception has to change, but it can't if I'm stuck in salamander mode. Next is patience. You have none, period. You have none. Why hasn't it happened yet? And why isn't it this or that? I'm supposed to be this. I'm supposed to be there. You're not patient.
Mm.
These are examples of us not taking care of ourselves. Last but not least, is not present. I'm not present. Physically, I'm there. Mentally, emotionally, I've checked out a long time ago. With family, with work, with my partner, with whomever. I'm not there. And I'm not present because I'm so focused on the future or the past. And these are indicators of we're not taking care of ourselves, our perception, because this equates to us being vulnerable. However, no boundaries. As you can see with the salamander, there's no boundaries whatsoever. There's everything out there that can penetrate this salamander, and that's what happens. So as life happens, we're absorbing everything that comes to us versus having some protection, having some safety to make sure we are safe.
Makes sense. And I'm just reflecting on those different characteristics. I think, sometimes I don't have the patience. Sometimes I'm not present, but I recognize that, hey, like slow down, calm down. And I think if you recognize it and you're able to pull yourself away from it and kind of work on yourself, that's a really great thing. Because you're going to slide into the salamander life here and there, I'm guessing.
Every day, Lisa?
Yeah.
Why? Because every day I'm doing something that or life happens what I didn't expect. I didn't plan. It just happened, And whenever that happens, whether intentional or unintentional, I'll go right back to a salamander.
Right.
So the great thing, before we transition into a gator, because that's what I want to teach as well, one thing that I feel as though we struggle with as helping professionals is we don't get help ourselves. Even as a therapist, we don't go get therapy. Me, I'm a black male therapist who also has a therapist. I am a unicorn, but I'm black with a gold horn. So a lot of people cannot say that because our profession doesn't require it.
Yeah.
You can graduate with a master's or PhD and never see a therapist for the rest of your life, and people do it all the time, which makes no sense to me. Because how can I provide this service and I'm not taking advantage of it for myself?
Right.
So I look at everything in 3 layers. 3 is just the number for me. So I like to simplify with this 3-layer related to a house. When I think about our house, I think about the house you grew up in versus the house you live in now. Well, 2 different places. I don't care if you still live with your mom and them. It ain't the same house you grew up in.
That's true. So
that
true.
4-bottle TV is now flat screen.
Yeah.
It's now flat screen, okay? It's not the same house. And in this house, there are 3 layers. 3 layers. I can't see nothing else, Lisa. I can't see it. You got the attic, which where we spend most of our time. It's comfortable. California King. You got a bar. It's nice. Pictures, Picasso, Basquiat. I mean, it's nice. Spend a lot of time there. Nobody has access in there. Nobody can get in there but you. Then the second floor, the second level, you got the living room. The living room is when we sit back on the couch, shooting socks off, rubbing our toes together, watching our favorite TV show or movie. It's where we are present authentically. We have access. People have access to us. Then you have the third layer, which is the basement. We don't go down there. We don't spend any time in the basement because there's a padlock on the door. And it's dark in the basement. It's sweaty. It's stinky. It's flooded. It's the worst. We don't go down there. And the reality is these 3 different layers, the attic, the living room, and the basement, represents us. The attic is your mind. You spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time in there. And all these things are happening in your head that never happen in reality. Never. Never. Just want to talk about facts.
Right.
But we believe it may be. Then the living room is where you are presently. That means you're most authentic. That's when people get to see me. That's when I can take the things from the attic and put it into real life practice. The basement is the emotion, the heart, the drama, the trauma, the things that happen between you and your mama. That's what's thrown in the basement. When I got hurt, when something happened to me, I threw it in the basement. I locked it up. I never look at it again. But I'm so eager to help everybody else with their basement stuff, but I'm refused to go in for mine.
Right.
That's us. So reconsider therapy. And when I talk about reconsider therapy, that's for us as the therapist, as the helping professional to reconsider it. It's a form of treatment aimed at relieving emotional distress and mental health concerns. That's everybody. We're all dealing with it in some capacity. I just want to talk about it. So therapy is provided by and for us. Us, right?
Yeah, right.
All helping professionals can benefit from therapy. Therapy gives you the opportunity to be done with people, places, and things that don't serve you anymore, or different versions of yourself that don't serve you anymore. Somebody better come get me. Somebody come get me. Get me out of here. There's 3 versions of us. There's three versions. Everything is in three versions.
Right.
Who we were, who I am, who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
From birth to death, those three parallels, which means there's so many different versions of us, and we're still living by past versions of us.
Yes.
Therapy is a place to begin going in that basement and removing things that you don't need anymore, making room for the better version of you, cleaning that basement out to make your house as pristine as your attic. Once that happens, you can move out the Comfort Inn and go hang out with me at the Intercontinental, because there's a difference between there's a difference between continental breakfast at the Comfort Inn and breakfast at the Intercontinental. There's a difference.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's a difference.
I mean, I'm envisioning it right now. Like you got your Pop-Tarts or your patisserie at the Intercontinental.
Come on.
Like
you got those powdered eggs, or you got eggs cooked to order by a chef. You get to decide, baby, how you want your eggs.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. So much of what you're saying, it resonates, and it's work that we all have to do in this profession. And I think it's hard to admit that you might need to do this work if you've been running as a salamander for so long, because you think that's what it's supposed to be, versus, you can have something so much better for yourself. So I just love this. This is such great. And then the side, I'm curious, and we'll get back to the objectives in a second. I know you mentioned before we started recording, like you were doing webinars and you're doing things a little bit different now. Is this something that you're doing in your webinars, or is that, I'm just wondering, like, are you teaching this to other therapists, to people? Like, who are you? Okay.
Absolutely. Helping professionals, students. I'm a professor, I'm a clinician, I'm a podcast host.
Okay.
So all of these mediums, I'm doing the same thing. I'm giving the same energy because I see things different now. And because of that, I live different. And I love life on this side versus the side that I was on before. And the side I live on now is I'm a Gator now, very different from Salamander. So as a Gator, life is a lot easier for me than a salamander. Life as a salamander is hard. It's extremely different. Number one, you're naked, vulnerable out here, right? You don't have any protection to govern. Your boundaries aren't that great. You have this Superman, Superwoman, Superperson mentality. You're doing everything for everyone except yourself, and your self-care account is at a negative balance. You're in overdraft. So once I learned how to remove myself from that experience and that environment, now I'm in a place where I keep my account above the norm. I'm a millionaire when it comes to self-care. I make millions, y'all, like real talk, millions. So every day I make deposits. So imagine if you had the ability to add to your bank account every day. That's what I have. That's what we all have, but we don't even know it because of what you just shared. We never thought we could. We always live life or do life a certain way because that's what we believe, which I want to dive into shortly, these beliefs.
Okay.
Oh, let's do it. All right, so let's dive into it. So I like to keep things simple. 2 + 2 is 4. I don't talk about nothing else when it comes to the core, right? Besides these two, because I'm curious, and this is in real time. I got to do this in real time. So this is for you, Lisa. I don't know if we've done this before. What would you say to me if I told you that 2 + 2 = 5? What would you say to me? Just curious.
I would say that's different math than I have, but okay.
You're such a therapist. You are such a therapist.
I can't turn it off.
No shame. I love it. No judgment, no shame, no guilt. I'm with that.
Well, if you were my child, I would say, no, that's not right. That's not right. You know what I mean? So there's a difference there.
Dude, this is a moment. This is a moment.
Right.
So how come, just curious, how come I would get grace, but your own child wouldn't? Lisa.
Yeah. Well, because they're young. They're in school. I want them to have the right information. I want them to understand.
Who said what's right and what's wrong?
No, the logic behind 2 + 2 = 4. You know, I want them to know, like, you can have this belief, but it's not going to be the norm, and you're probably going to not get, you're going to get a point deducted. So I don't know. That's just a different. It's just different thought pattern.
Got a challenge. Yeah, it wouldn't be me if I didn't challenge you. I got a challenge.
Sure.
That's who I am. I challenge beliefs and ideas, which is why we're talking about this. Because the difference between these two equations, how I simplify it, one is a fact and one is a belief. That's it. Right. That's it. So it's both of these equations are subjective until proven otherwise.
Right.
And the difference between these two, 2 + 2 = 4, you can prove it's correct. You can prove it's right.
Right.
2 + 2 is 5 is a belief that we cannot prove, but emotionally we can be so tied to a belief that it becomes a fact even when it's not.
Right. So true.
Here's an example. Here's an example. Is there a cabinet, closet, drawer room, it's usually found in the kitchen, that's designated for things that do not work. Junk drawer. Anybody got one? Lisa, do you have one? Or did you have one?
I mean, I don't have a junk drawer. I just have a catch-all drawer. Because I wouldn't.
Catch-all drawers?
Yeah, I mean, I've got something
Junk,
like that.
it's all the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catch-all, junk is all the same. Because catch-all is catch-all. Like you said, it's catch-all. All the things that work and all the things that don't work.
Right.
Catch-all. So therefore, Lisa, now you're going to get some of this love too. From birth to 2025, we believe that we had to have a catch-all drawer, a junk drawer, which means for every house I've ever lived in, that drawer came with me. It came with me, baby. I took it to college, to high school, all these different places, different relationships, marriage. I'm taking every house I've been, that junk drawer comes with me. And it's full of iPhone cords to a phone you don't own anymore, cases you don't own anymore, batteries that don't work, pennies that didn't turn green, bread ties, coupons that expired, menus to restaurants that burned down years ago. We got access to. And if I asked you to get rid of anything in that drawer that does not work, it will be a fight. Why? Because of my beliefs. Why? Because I've had this my entire life. Now, if that's the literal junk drawer that we can walk to right now, listen to this podcast. I can walk to that drawer and take out that ketchup packet and Taco Bell sauce packets. I can take that out right now, physically, but I haven't. Imagine internally, the basement is the same thing. Imagine the stuff I still carry as a human who happens to be a therapist with a PhD, and I'm still dealing with my own personal stuff, jealousy, anger, still waiting on somebody to apologize for what they did, although they're dead. I just want to talk about it. So we're all carrying this stuff around, literally and figuratively. We don't know how to let it go because we've never been taught until now.
Right.
So now the challenge to the listeners is to determine what are the beliefs and what are the facts. There's a belief that we have around having this junk drawer. It's a belief. Okay, you're entitled to it. But what if I decided to do something different, uncomfortable, and new, and remove one thing that doesn't work for me anymore? This current version, i.e., bread tie. Get rid of it. What do I still have? This paper clips, rubber bands. Why? I don't have an office. Why do you even have this stuff, right? Because we believe we're supposed to. If it's not the junk drawer, imagine the bags full of plastic bags. You know those. I just keep putting bags and pull a plastic bag, right? It's a belief that I was taught and told somebody gave this to me. And it don't work for the current version of me because it takes up space. Here's an example. I'm married to a therapist. Yep, I get away with nothing. So my wife, me as a therapist, she's a counselor educator as well. And when we got together, we put all our junk catch-all together. So she got her junk, I got mine. We put it all together. And over the years, we kind of was having these discussions like, man, this drawer just keeps getting overfilled. And we were moving things. And it was like, let's just take some time to get rid of things that don't serve us to have this drawer be more functional than not. So we took a few weekends and just started removing stuff. And that junk drawer, it transitioned, it transformed into a utility drawer. Because everything in there works.
Right. Smart.
Everything in there works, baby. Yeah. And guess what? I told you I got 2 kids, 2 and 4. They're growing up not knowing what a junk drawer is. They have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
Because everything in these drawers work. That's a generational change because of what we decided to do, different, uncomfortable, and new. Are you seeing the parallels? Because I'm seeing it.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally see it. And I get it. I totally see it. And I'm getting it.
Now, we're finna go another step further. I've been talking about Superman. Now we got to talk about it.
Okay.
Real quick. I just want to take a moment. Thank you, Lisa, for this opportunity for me to be me and inviting your listener, your audience in, because these conversations we don't get to have often. Yeah. We especially don't get to have them in this capacity. And I appreciate the platform to be able to do this because I feel that what we're talking about will change the lives of people who are ready to change.
Yeah,
all right.
Agree.
So I had to get that plug. Yeah. So thank you. I love giving flowers. I got to give those flowers.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we connected. And this is such great information and a great Podcourse. So yeah, what else you got?
Okay. It don't stop. Okay. So talking about beliefs, right? Superman is real to me and he's black. He's my belief. I'm entitled to him.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
Again, facts and beliefs. Now, let's talk about the Superman mentality that many helping professionals have. And it's the belief that I can save the world. You're entitled to that belief, but just because you're entitled to it doesn't make it a fact. Because for a fact, Superman works full-time job,
Yep.
40 hours a week at the Daily Planet, right? He's a journalist. He takes off work to go save when he chooses to save. And whoever he chooses to save, the reality is he cannot save everybody. There's people still dying when he's saving. So if Superman goes out and saves this person, you know, he's deciding that I'm in a position to help. I'm in a position to save. The reality is Superman can't save the world. He can only save the people in Metropolis. So if you live in Gotham, it's over.
Right.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. But you better call Batman. And
Right.
It got to be at night. It better be at night. So don't get hurt during the day.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
I just want to talk about facts. So if Superman can't do it, what makes us think we can?
Yeah.
And Superman has way more power than we do. He can blow wind. We just break wind. We're not that great as humans, but we think we are. So I want to give an example of how Superman works, right? He takes off work, get dressed in the booth, boom, go save somebody. This person from this abandoned building, while they up there, roof on fire, whatever. He grabs the person, brings them down to earth, and he leaves once they're safe and secure. What do we do as Superman, Superwoman, Superperson? Number one, our cape is too damn long. Our cape is too long. We tripping over it. We don't even take off work. We skip work. We leave work. We sneak off work to go help somebody else. We go help them, bring them down from the building. They're there. Now we're bringing everybody and their mama in to help this person, knock the soot off, the dust, the dirt, wipe the blood. And we're there to make sure they're good until what? The next emergency. And then we go to the next and to the next and to the next. And we don't take care of us until we think on the weekends. But the weekends was supposed to be designed for recovery, for relaxation is actually designed for recovery. Because that's all I can do on the weekends is recover. Because I'm constantly pouring out. The reality is Superman, when he leaves, he goes to the ice caves. He kicks back with a six-pack on his couch, rubbing his toes together, shooting socks off, watching his favorite TV show or movie. Superman, right? That's what he watching. Yeah. While us will never hang out in the ice cave because we don't believe in taking care of ourselves. Again, I'm just talking about facts. So I'd love to hear your perspective about this idea around Superman and these beliefs that we can save the world.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that we overthink what we are capable of doing. And that usually, and that's a hard lesson, I think, when you finally realize like that's not the case because you're doing it for someone who maybe doesn't necessarily see how they're responsible for their own health. So we're like digging ourselves further and further in the ground, just like beating ourselves up. And I remember doing this as a new counselor. Like, I mean, I really remember doing this, thinking if I just got the right information from the client, or if they just told me this one thing, like that's going to be the information that's needed for the aha moment. And they're going to go, you're right. I need to change.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a belief. And then we finally get the evidence that it's a fact that this client isn't ready. And so we have to then change our belief around what's possible and maybe what is that person is capable of present time.
Yes.
Versus what we would like for them, where we see the potential for them to go and grow. They're just not there yet. So
these are facts.
Yeah, no, I think
these are facts.
This is a great metaphor, the Superman mentality for sure.
Love it. Love it. Excellent. So we're on the same page. And to the listeners, I hope you're paying attention because if Superman can't do it, what makes us think that we can? And to me, taking care of yourself is a skill that you have to develop. Superman has developed that skill because all he do is save lives.
Right.
Outside of work, his job, as he was told to do his whole life, he was taught to do that because of the power he has. However, I wish I was Superman's therapist to let him know he's not responsible either because he ain't got kids.
Yeah.
Just because you got all these power does not mean you have to save everybody.
Right.
Again, for us as therapists, just because I have this intellect, this insight, this ability, this knowledge, this education, doesn't mean I'm required to fix or save anybody. The only thing you fix is a plate and a car. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people.
Right.
Okay. So if I'm talking about people, I'm not trying to fix anyone. I'm trying to help. And it's not even a try. Either I help or I don't, period. But when it comes to this savior mentality, I got to save. I will die on the sword, on the hill to save somebody else based off of what I think they could be doing versus what they're actually doing, which is exactly what you just shared.
Yeah. Right.
You don't see it until you hit in the face with the facts. The facts are this person is not ready, and that's okay. This is where they are now.
Yeah.
This is teaching me something about me because
Right.
my belief is at any point in time, we can be on either side of the couch.
Yeah.
Intentionally or unintentionally. And at any point in time, if that's the case, then I need to give myself permission to be human and not superhuman. And that's what I want to challenge everybody to consider or reconsider.
Okay.
Ooh, Lisa, just too much. Just too much.
Do you need a break? You need a minute?
No, I've been waiting on this. I'm waiting on
this is just fabulous. I love it. All right. So keep going. Where do you want to hit next?
So now we talked about Salamander, talked about belief, we talked about therapy, we talked about Superman. Now let's talk about the Gator.
Okay.
This is what I want to help everyone develop this new mindset of how you can choose to live. For me, I live like a gator. I'm a gator out here in these streets. And as you can see, with that gator, mouth closed, teeth out. Those are boundaries. Arms folded, boundaries. You see the muscles, boundaries, back up, okay? You already know when I come in the room, get back. Because I'm somebody and I get to decide who I engage with and interact with, right? As a gator, the difference between a salamander and a gator has scales. That means they're protected. They have boundaries. Those scales come from life. Every one of us have dealt with life experiences, people, places, and things that has allowed us to be who we are. Those things that happen to us gives us strength. Because if it didn't happen, I would still be in the comfort end related to these certain events and activities. Now that it's happened, I'm exposed and I see life very differently, rather good, bad, ugly, in between. As a gator, I'm protected, I'm covered. However, there is still that vulnerable underbelly, but no one has access because I stay on point. You don't have access unless I want you to have it, but there is that vulnerability versus a salamander who just out here naked and afraid. Right. So the difference between the salamander, I gave the 4 P's for salamander. There's 5 C's to Gator Life. And the reason there's 5, because gators are extra, okay? We do extra. So for a gator is not trying to be perfect. A gator is being consistent. Every day I just keep showing up. Doing the best I can with what I have, period. I'm not trying to be perfect, not trying to be Freud. I don't look nothing like them. So I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm trying to be me, the best version, consistently. Number 2, curiosity. Your perspective changes through education, knowledge, exposure. So if I'm curious, that gives me an opportunity to learn. If I'm a salamander, I ain't curious about nothing because I already know everything. Right. So as a gator, I'm curious. Tell me more. Educate me. I want to learn. I'm a student of life. Number 3, gators are creative. Think about it. Have you ever had a webinar that you participated in, talk about self-care, to talk about a gator salamander? Never. No. Why? Because nobody's created it. I had to. That's why you're just hearing it now. But I had to become this version to give you what I had. So that's creativity. I'm a gator. Creativity equates to authenticity. If I allow myself to be myself, and the reason that many of us are inauthentic is we're incongruent, inconsistent, meaning our head does not connect with our heart. They're distant strangers. Perfect stranger. We talk about perfect strangers. We got to put those two together. My head and heart have to connect. That's what gives me authenticity. For many clinicians, our head and heart does not connect. It doesn't align. Why? Because I'm so focused on the attic or afraid of the basement. That's what keeps them separate. So the next piece, in order to bring them together, I got to be courageous. Gators take risks. They are courageous. They are not worried about what if. They're concerned about what is. Because what is are facts. What if is belief. I hope you're seeing the parallels. Yes. So gators are courageous by taking risks and choosing to do things they've never done to get results they never received. And many of us aren't willing to do that because we love comfort. How do you know? Look at your thermostat. It's been the same. Why? Because we don't change it. And many of us aren't changing it because you ain't paid a bill. Yeah. The person who changed it, one paying the bill. Yeah. That's the only person willing to be uncomfortable. Everybody else, just want to talk about it. Thank you, Lisa. I'm feeling the love, Lisa. I'm feeling the love. Last thing that gators do that salamanders never do is celebrate. Gators celebrate at a minimum 3 times a day. Before, during, and after. Because my grandmother, we talk about grandmothers, my grandmother told me either you're preparing for the storm, you're in the middle of it, or you just got through it. As a Gator, I got my little paper hat on with a little rubber band around my face, getting ready to party because I know it's some darkness about to happen, or I'm in the middle of the darkness, but I got a flashlight, or I just got through the darkness. That means I'm finna be somebody else now. I'm celebrating every single version. I need you to celebrate everything.
Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
So for me, I celebrate every single day because I can't believe I'm still here. I cannot, Lisa, I'm serious. This profession could have took me out over a decade ago. So I'm excited about life and I celebrate life because I'll never be that version of me again. And part of this webinar is to help people do the same thing without going through the hell that I went through. Because you don't have to if you're getting this new information and you apply it to your life. So this celebration is giving yourself permission to celebrate all the wins and not the losses doesn't exist because as a Gator, you don't lose anymore. It's not win or lose. That's Salamander. Gator is I win or I learn, which means I never lost.
Yeah.
I ain't lost since 2005. Just want to talk about facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I play a different game. And the game is, how do I become a better version of me? I'm not competing or comparing to nobody but me, all different versions. Therefore, I always win. That's a celebration, baby.
Yeah.
That is a celebration. I got my party hat. I got a kazoo. I'm out here. Let's go.
I love that. I love the celebrate part. I love how you've written this out and framed it because it's like a recipe, obviously, for living this Gator life. And I think, and I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but I've heard
time out. Oh, I need you to toot your own horn.
Okay,
Lisa.
I'm gonna toot my own horn. All right, toot,
Thank
toot.
you.
All right, we're tooting.
Let's go. Come on, Gator.
It's a lot of work to get to this place, and I have to pat myself on the back. Now, I'm not perfect, yet I want to live in the Gator life. I want to be a Gator, and when I feel myself sliding into Salamander, I'm like, no, you are not gonna do this. This is not who you are. This is not authentic. This is fear driving you back to the Salamander life or something, whatever feeling that comes up for me. So yeah. And when you are in this life, you can let so much stuff just fall to the side and not give a crap about. I mean, really.
Come on, Lisa. That's it.
And
you're absolutely right.
And I think that it's so wonderful when you're able to be congruent and walk in alignment with who you are and with your values and with your beliefs, and know that sure, there are going to be people that come along and try to knock you down or really test you. But if you know who you are and you have humility and you're able to take a look at yourself and recognize when sure, those are learning edges for me, or I have to work on that. You can still be in the Gator life. You can still strive and you can still be there. It takes practice and it takes work, and it's a daily thing. I mean, like you've said, it's a daily thing. You have to choose it. So
absolutely.
I'm with you.
Thank you for sharing that. I couldn't let the old Lisa come in here and derail the future Lisa. I couldn't let her do it. Not on my watch.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for making me toot my horn there.
Always, because again, that's the celebration. You are going to take away the celebration because of the old Lisa. She gotta go.
Right.
We gotta get her up out of here.
Yeah. She's gone. Well, it's that old, it's the basement stuff that comes in, of course. So, but that's all right. I recognize it, and you're right. And I'm glad you called me out on it.
Oh, I called you in.
Yeah.
I called you in.
Yeah, called me in on it.
Called you in.
Called me in on it. I just think that's so smart and so good. Yeah, so good.
Yeah. This is why we're here. So let's go ahead and put a bow on this related, because now these concepts never change. Okay. We change. The concepts don't. And that's what I love about them. This has been several years in the making, and it just keeps getting better because I evolve. And as I evolve, the concepts evolve, which means I explain them different ways, but the core is still the same. So there were former students who would share years later when they get licensed and they're in private practice, and they would talk about the Gator and the Salamander because it started back in 2018. That's when, 2012. So 2012 was when this Gator and Salamander first started. So initially I only had one or two different things. Now I got 4 and 5, and it is involved. But what the students share is these concepts made me look at life differently, and it gave me options to choose from. So I can choose to be a Gator, I can choose to be a Salamander, but I get to choose, I get to decide. So a lot of the students would share with me that this information equipped them with ways to take better care of themselves. And many students report Like, I'm not dealing with compassion fatigue. I'm not dealing with burnout because my boundaries are really good. Or
Mhm.
I believe in that Gator life and I got a Gator necklace or a Gator this or that to remind me, no, I can take a day off. I can go to this concert. I can tell a client no. I can, reschedule. I can do things differently. And I didn't know I could do that before.
Mhm.
So to me, like, this information is life changing if it's applied. It feels good, but it doesn't mean anything unless it's applied.
Right.
So what I want to dive into the next piece of the how, like, how do we do better at practicing self-care? I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Again, another system, another technique. So this system technique was what I call ESPM. It's the ESPM model for self-care. ESPM represents emotional, spiritual, physical, mental. So before we even dive into what to do, let's find out where people are. So to the listeners, I would challenge you to draw this, write this out, a huge circle, draw a vertical horizontal line, top left, letter E, top right, S, bottom left, P, bottom right, M, ESPM. So this whole circle represents 100%, and each quadrant represents about 25%. And you ask yourself some simple questions. Number one, what do I do to take care of me based off of each section? What that means is, what do I do every day to take care of myself emotionally? What do I do every day to take care of myself spiritually? Same thing for the next two. Okay. So if you ask yourself this question, you don't have an answer, that's an indicator I could do better. Because more often than not, especially for therapists, our physical, one of the easiest ones we got. We got that probably full, right? Emotional, depends on the day. Spiritual, it depends.
Yeah.
Mental, nothing at all. Because we don't know how. Again, we do what's comfortable. And my challenge is to do things that's not comfortable to become a better version of you. So assess where you are. Now, if we were to assess your assessment, I'm going to give you that. 9 times out of 10, you take care of yourself about 10 to 15% of the time. 10 to 15%, which means everybody else gets 90% of you. Everybody else does. I just want to talk about it. Do your own math, do your own stats, but I'm sure that's the case. If you ever said there's not enough time in the day, clear indicator. If you ever said I'm tired and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, clear indicator. You sleeping in late, you staying up, like all of these things indicates I'm not taking care of me. So how you do that is to begin making deposits for each quadrant. Each quadrant represents a cup. So how do I start pouring into my cup? Because many of us, the reason that we start facing capacity fatigue and burnout is because we're pouring from an empty cup constantly, consistently. And what I'm challenging you to do is to start replenishing your cup. Now, think about that percentage. I mentioned we take care of ourselves about 15% of the time. Imagine taking a shower and washing 15% of your body. That is one underarm.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge is, how do I take care of me, all of me, for the day? I like to simplify it, and we'll start small, as I mentioned at the beginning, on a micro level. Because when we think about self-care, we think about doing it big. I got to get a gym membership. I'm going to get a personal trainer. I'm going to start eating better, getting nutritionist. And we do all these things, and how long it lasts? About 2-3 weeks, if that. And then we're just paying for memberships, but we don't go because it's not a part of my lifestyle.
Right.
I want to create a new way of being, which is a lifestyle. So let's dive in. E represents emotional well-being. When you think about emotional well-being, I want you to think about your heart. What can I do more of that brings joy to my heart intentionally? For me, it's laughter. As you can tell, I love to laugh. Yeah. Love it. It is medicine for me. So if I ain't laughing at somebody else, I'm laughing at my damn self. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself. So emotionally, that brings joy to my heart. Listen to my kids laugh and giggle, making them laugh. It brings joy to my heart. But when you think about self-care, I want you to think about the self first. I make me laugh first. Then I add my kids to it because they ain't going nowhere. So therefore, I gotta see them. We're laughing together. We're having a good time. That brings joy to my heart. That's for me. May not be for you. You may not laugh at all. And that's cool too. Salamanders don't laugh. They don't got time for that when you try to save everybody. Next thing, spiritual. Understand spirituality and religion are two different things. Sometimes we look at spirituality and there's only religion. Religions are the rules, principles, guidelines that we live by based off of what we were taught and told, where we grew up, when we grew up, who we grew up with. Spirituality, we are all born with it, meaning things that's bigger than us that you cannot make. For example, a squirrel or a mountain. No human has ever made a squirrel. No human has ever made a mountain. That's spiritual. It's beyond us. It's bigger than us. And for me, spiritually, I'm in California, there's mountains everywhere. And for me, spiritually, every day I'm looking out the window, I see mountains and I take a moment to reflect. That's
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. I look at this mountain and it makes me feel real small on this earth, which makes
Right.
me feel real big in life.
Right. Yeah.
Another example, spirituality, every day I'm listening to music.
Mm-hmm.
It uplifts my spirit. Hope
Mm-hmm.
y'all saying what I'm saying. Gospel, hip hop, R&B, trap, it don't matter. It makes me feel good. And guess what? My boy's the same way. Dada, you gonna play some music? What's happening? It's too quiet in here. Let's do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Ready. So therefore, I'm taking care of my emotional, my spiritual. I'm good for many of us because we only do two, and that's enough. Again, imagine taking a shower and just washing your upper body. That's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You've done a lot, but is it enough? And does it sustain you? 9 times out of 10, it doesn't because it's surface based. It doesn't fill your cup.
Right.
Okay. Next, P, physical. Again, post pandemic, some of us have not transitioned the wine back to water yet. Let's go. And it hasn't happened yet. We still on the vodka. We still on the red. We still on the white. We still drinking like we in the pandemic because we didn't go back because that was a coping mechanism for many of us, me included.
Yep.
Me included. But I'm getting my water take in now better because I had to be one to change. Physically, I noticed some changes. I didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do that better.
Yeah.
Physical is also think about where do I physically spend my time? Always at work, always at school, always at the bar, babysitting, taking care of kids, taking care of girls. Where am I physically spending my time?
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's not the ice cave. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Investing in my physical being. For me, every day I take a walk. I'm outside every single day. The weather here is phenomenal and I take full advantage of it. All right. Last but not least, mental. Mental wellness, think about your mind. So physical body, mental, think about your mind. How do I enhance my mental well-being? Number one, healthier boundaries. I need you to be a gator in these streets because that gives me the bandwidth to deal with more stuff. When I don't have boundaries, I'm taking in everything. I don't have room for me. So mentally, you have to set up some guidelines of what you consume every day, from social media to energy vampires. Get you some garlic. People who get on your last nerve, clients, family, partner, and everybody else in between. Mentally, go on to therapy. Yeah, I said it. If you ain't dealt with that basement yet, you ain't took that lock off the door, go to therapy. Is the best place to begin working on you. If you need a therapist, guess what? I'm accepting new clients. I'll let your boy. The mental piece is being mindful of my mind. Again, the addict. I got to be mindful of what I put in there. Because many of us got a whole movie, a trailer, beginning, middle, and end. We got Scorsese directing it. We got Idris Elba and Denzel lead characters, and everybody dies at the end. Why? Because of what I think. Lisa, this might be for you. This might be for you. This might be for you, Lisa.
Oh, man.
That's mental. So this is a mental exhaustion. I'm exhausted thinking about how everything is going to end in death and fear and negativity. That's choice. We choose that. And somebody gave it to us. Somebody gave it to us, okay? So if I'm taking care of all four, emotional, spiritual, physical, mental, I have took care of my self-care for that day. And my cup is full. That's $100 in my account, however much I say I put in there. But the reality is it's full for that day.
Yeah.
Guess what happens the next day? Back at a zero balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why on a micro level, I highly recommend everybody to pour into your ESPM every single day. It doesn't have to be big, it can be real small. If I'm pouring in small deposits, again, if I'm making withdrawals every day, because life be life. Therefore, I got enough in my account to take care of me and somebody else. Many of us, we got a zero balance and we're still buying coffee for other people. That $5 cup of coffee is now $35 because there's an overdraft charge. Because we love helping everybody else. So I want you all to reconsider it and begin practicing better ways to take care of yourself. So most people, when they hear this, is like, oh my God, it's overwhelming. It's too much. How do I do it? Whenever you're coming with that approach, know where you're coming from. And that's a salamander. Because nobody said you have to master all of this today. The reality is, let me practice one quadrant a day, a week, a month, a year. The goal is to do all four every single day, but that's a really big goal because that's a lifestyle change. I've developed this over a decade ago and I still haven't mastered it yet, and I created it. So I want you all to know, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I need you to give yourself permission not to try to be, but how can I get started? Here's how, real quick, and I'm shut up. One day, but not 2 days. So emotional, before you even leave the house, emotional. I wake up, I give thanks. I'm thanks to be here. Whoever you want to give thanks to. To yourself, God, higher power, dog, chair. Don't matter. Thankful. Gratitude. Emotional. Boom. I'm good. Spiritual. I listen to one song. Right? So typically, because three parallels, who we were, who are becoming, whenever I hear Jay-Z's public service announcement, it's a reminder that I am him, capital H-I-M. It's a reminder to you all, for the women, that you are her, capital H-E-R. And I ain't talking about the R&B singer with the guitar. I'm talking about her. That future version of you that's always whispering. You can't hear her because the old version of you is always screaming. That's the disconnect. When we put those two worlds together, I can hear me perfectly. And now I'm emulating this idea of who I'm supposed to be. So, emotional, taken care of. Spiritual, music, done. Physical, I'm drinking water before I drink anything else to start my morning. Mental, I'm not turning on news or social media before I leave the house. Therefore, I've covered my cup. I'm good for the day. And if I practice this every day, again, my account stays in the positive. I never run out of money. All right? And the best way I can describe this are the breadcrumbs. Understand that breadcrumbs and ripples all around us. Ripples is anytime I do something for me, that's me throwing a pebble in the pond, is going to create ripples. Those ripples will be 10 times more than the pebble itself. Us being on this Podcourse together, you listening, is a pebble in the pond is going to make ripples. What you're getting now, it hits you really hard, but it's soft like a honey bun. You just got hit in the head. The next part is breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs are the things that surround us, hidden in plain sight, which means it's always there, things that we can do, things that we can be, who we can be, the whole nine. And if I eat enough breadcrumbs, eventually I'm going to end up with a slice of bread. Most of us look at a slice of bread, we eat it. Last time I checked, the slice has two sides. It's two sides of everything. But if I'm only looking at one, disaster, negativity, I can't see the other. If I'm only looking at the other, I can't see the gray in between. If I eat enough bread, eventually I'm going to have a loaf. If I have enough loaves, I'm going to end up in Panera. That's where I wake up at every day, a bread factory, because I do not run out, because I figured out what works for me. I'm challenging the listeners to figure out what works for you, because many of us are practicing self-care based off of what somebody told us they do, that we started doing, that does not work for us.
Right.
For me, I could spend all day at the barbershop and the salon doing manicure, pedicure, and I'm still empty. Why? Because that doesn't fill my cup. What does? Hugging a tree out in nature. That does it for me. I mean, I am a branch, right? I get it honest. So me hugging the tree, hanging out in the grass for an hour can make up for a day of this idea of what self-care is. My point is, self-care is whatever you say it is. You have to begin speaking things different based off of the person that you're becoming. That is it. That is all.
Okay. That was amazing. Amazing. So much good stuff in there. I'm just, I could listen to you go on for another hour. Like, I love this,
And I could.
this topic. Yeah.
But we ain't got time. We got
No.
stuff to do.
I know. We got clients to work with and people to see. So before we end this episode or this Podcourse, tell everybody how they can find you, how they can, I know you said you're taking clients, like how can they learn more about you, your webinars, all that good stuff?
Great question. So again, thanks for the opportunity to serve. For any of you, I'm Googleable now. So you can Google me, Dr. Jason Branch. You can find who I am, where I am. My website is www.drjbranch.com. You can find me on Instagram, social media, also YouTube. I'm also a podcast host. Guess what the podcast is? Three Parallels Podcast, where we rediscover who we were, embrace who we are. So if this was helpful, this was insightful, hop on the podcast, 2 episodes a week. You're going to deal with me, a guest, and some live 3 days a week. So you're going to get access to me. So reach out if I can help, if I can serve. I am here. Coaching, counseling, consulting, whatever you need, I am here. And just because I offer of me doesn't mean we are a good fit to work together. So I need to make that clear as well. Sure. Because just because it feels good doesn't mean I'm your therapist. Just want to talk about facts. Okay.
Yeah. You want to make sure you're getting the right therapist with the right client and all that stuff. All right. Well, we'll put all of that into the show notes, how you guys can learn more about Dr. Branch, where you can find him, his podcast, as well as information about this Podcourse. So Jason, thank you so much for being here. This has just been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. To the listeners, thank you all for listening. Thank you for investing. This is an example of an investment. You listen to it. There's no way you can listen to this Podcourse and not get something. Absolutely. If you did, you need to come see me immediately.
Thanks again for being here.
Absolutely.
Please note that the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice. Always consult with your therapist, doctor, or physician before implementing any suggestions from the show. The Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard is edited and engineered by Chelsea Weaver. If you're looking to start a podcast or ready to take the editing off of your plate, be sure to visit chelseaweaverpodcasting.com. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Therapy Show with Lisa Mustard. I know there are hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and I'm thankful you've chosen to listen to mine. Be sure to visit lisamustard.com to access the show notes and discover all the Podcourses and other continuing education offerings. And I'd be grateful if you subscribe to the show. Thank you.